All right, let's talk about something a lot of us just don't get. The quiet power that comes from being alone. We're going to dive into the world of people who actually prefer their own company and uncover the amazing strengths they build, not because they want to, but because they have to.
You know who I'm talking about. Maybe it's even you. That person in the corner of a party just kind of watching everything. The friend who's perfectly happy to spend an entire weekend on their own. They just seem to move through the world on their own terms, and it can leave the rest of us wondering, seriously, what's going on behind that calm look? Is this a choice, or is it some kind of defense? And what kind of inner world gets built when nobody else is around to see it? That's the big question we're going to unpack right now.
Okay, so to really get this, we have to understand that not all solitude is created equal. There are really two main roads that lead someone to spend a lot of time by themselves, and the reason they're alone, well, that changes absolutely everything. And this is a huge distinction. On one side, you've got chosen solitude. Think of it like a personal sanctuary. It's where you go to recharge your batteries, to finally hear yourself think. It feels like peace. But then there's protective solitude. This isn't a sanctuary, it's more like a fortress. It's a shield someone built because life taught them that relying on other people was just too risky. And while it might feel safe in there, there's usually this quiet little ache that something's missing.
So here's the main takeaway. For these people, solitude isn't some empty void. It's actually a space that's full of potential. It's the breathing room they need to do some deep self-reflection, a place where all the noise from the outside world finally fades away and their own inner voice gets crystal clear.
So how does this breathing room become an active training ground? Well, it's because that time spent alone isn't just passive. It's where the real work happens, where the foundation for a really powerful kind of intelligence gets laid, piece by piece.
I mean, think about it. When you take away all the constant chatter and distractions from other people, you're left with, well, just you. And you start to notice things. You see the same thought loops playing over and over. You figure out what triggers certain feelings. You get to know your own reactions inside and out. This isn't just daydreaming. It's like you're collecting data on the most complex subject you'll ever study, yourself.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. All that deep self-awareness that gets built in solitude, it's not just some personality quirk. It's the raw ingredient for a kind of superpower, a super high emotional intelligence that wasn't learned in a book, but was forged in the fire of necessity.
So let's break down how this actually works. It all starts with that intense self-reflection we were just talking about. From there, you get really good at spotting your own patterns. Then comes the critical next step, emotional regulation. That means learning to manage those big feelings on the inside before they spill out and cause problems on the outside. And eventually, that deep knowledge of yourself lets you look outwards, to read a room, to get the vibe, and even to see conflicts coming before they even start. There's a name for this. It's called high emotional intelligence, or EQ. It's the ability to basically master your own emotional world. But the key thing here, the origin story, is that for so many of these folks, this wasn't something they were taught. It was a survival skill they had to figure out all on their own.
But, and this is a big but, this whole intense development process, it comes with a trade-off. Forging this kind of inner strength often creates this weird mix of incredible skills and really deep vulnerabilities. It's a total paradox.
I mean, on the one hand, the strengths are just amazing. You've got this fierce independence because they've learned they can count on themselves, a deep resilience because they fought their own battles internally and won, and because they can't stand anything superficial, when they do connect, they go for deep, meaningful relationships over having tons of casual friends.
But then, there's the other side of that coin. The very thing that made them so independent can make it incredibly hard to trust other people. This can lead to a real fear of getting too close, a habit of hiding any vulnerability behind a mask of "I've got this," and even taking on too much in relationships just to stay in control. And underneath it all, there can still be that quiet ache for a connection they're not sure how to let themselves have.
Psychologists actually have a term for that constant scanning of their environment that a lot of these folks do. It's called hypervigilance. It's like their internal alarm system is always on. It's a defense mechanism they learned to deal with a world that at some point felt really unsafe or just overwhelming. It's what lets them read a room so well, but man, can it be exhausting.
So, after all this, what's the end game? What's the ultimate result of a life focused so much inward? It's a powerful, unshakable connection with oneself. It's a totally different kind of happiness, one that doesn't need anyone else's approval to exist. And this quote just nails it. These individuals aren't broken.
They're not antisocial. They are survivors who are deeply in tune with themselves. They're thinkers, feelers. They're quiet warriors who learn to find strength not in a crowd, but deep inside.
And that's maybe the biggest lesson they have to teach us, right? That a real, solid connection with the world out there. It starts with building a real, solid connection with yourself first. That internal foundation is what everything else is built on.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. When you find yourself alone, which is it? Is it a choice, a way to connect with you? Or is it a shield, a way to protect yourself from the world? Figuring out the why behind your own solitude, that's the first step to unlocking its real power. Thanks for tuning in.